Good evening, everybody.
Hi! Cheers. Let's just start drinking now.
Yep.
So, strawberry daiquiri tonight in honor of Hawaii.
I got one too, but I also got Jameson, as per the usual. So,
I'm double fisting.
I already got beer under my belt for the evening too, so...
But welcome, guys. We are back in Virginia. We are back home, and we are going to be reopening next weekend.
Yes, we finally got everything together, got permission that we needed, and this Friday we are going to be running tours again. Yay!
Woohoo! Tour time!
Tour time. Plenty of restrictions in place, of course, and all that good stuff, but
yes,
hey...
but you can come out with us, and we can talk in person, and we can tell you stories, so
yes.
That's what's important.
Yes.
From a socially safe distance, of course, but we can do it.
All those details.
Yeah, but you can go to our website, you can check that out, you can check out our Facebook page, see those details, see what our restrictions are, and go ahead and start booking your tickets and come on out and visit us. And we'll keep doing these, but we're going to have to cut back to probably twice a month instead of every week.
Yeah, although we will be here next week.
Yes, we have things set up for next week, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. But, you know, having to go out and give tours cuts down on my research time, so...
A little bit of give and take.
Yeah.
But,
compromise.
Yes, compromising.
Compromising. But we do enjoy doing this, so we don't want to give it up. So
no,
we will be
absolutely.
here.
We love being able to interact with y'all and being able to do this. So we are very happy to be here for this evening.
Yes, and you'll have to excuse our fumbling a little bit tonight.
Oh, yeah, we're...
I forgot to type the script.
Our minds went on vacation, so...
So we have it half typed, half the old school way.
Because we realized this just 2 hours ago. So been frantically typing for the last hour and a half, and...
Chris might have to go like this a few times. He types faster than I do.
That still wasn't nearly enough.
Neither one of us are professional typists. But anyway, we do have the stories. We will tell you them, and we'll just be kind of shifting back and forth a little bit. Old school, new school. Yay, technical.
Yes. Ooh, and so, hi everybody that's watching, and we got Kiana...
Who's been asking for this.
And who said, I am from the Big Island. Will you guys be featuring any stories from there?
Yes, we will. I believe we will. I gotta go back and look. I got Oahu, I got Maui. Yes, Pele's Garden of Love, I believe, is on the Big Island. I have to look. Yes, it is. So, yes, we do have...
We have Big Island stories.
Yep.
We have quite a few stories.
Yes, we do. And we are going to jump around. I'll let you know when I know for sure which island we are on. I'm trying to post them together, but some of these appear all across all the islands, so they're not necessarily under one island. But yeah, I did try to get stories from quite a few different ones. So, and I have been to Hawaii actually. So actually, the leis we're wearing tonight are actually from Hawaii when my family went, as is my lovely skirt. And I know it's kind of hard to see up here, but this is actually a sand painting from Maui that I got. So I did bring my Hawaii stuff out.
I've never been.
I need to get them there.
I still need
that is on our to-do list to get us over there again, and yeah. Yep. Because I want to go back. I only got to Oahu and Maui, and I would like to get to the Big Island and see the volcano and get to a couple of the smaller islands too. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go with my parents to Molokai when they went to go see the pineapple plantation out there.
Things to do.
Things to do. Lots of things to do. And introduce them to true pineapple whips. True pineapple whips. Dole whips.
Okay.
Straight on the beach.
Sounds wonderful to me.
Oh, God.
When do we leave?
When we save enough money.
Details. Details.
Kitchen renovation. Kind of wipe that out.
Check out Kona Brewing Company when we get to the Big Island.
Okay.
Good tip. I like that tip.
Yeah, Kona is actually one of the things I wanted to go see. So
Kona Brewing.
I want to go see the Kona coffee.
Yes.
Which I don't think is on the Big Island. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kiana.
I don't know.
I can't remember. I thought that was one of the smaller ones, but I could be wrong.
Well,
It's been a while.
People did tune in tonight to hear us tell some ghost stories about
yes.
Hawaii, rather than hearing us fantasize about our vacation to Hawaii, which will be someday.
Monday.
Someday.
Soon.
So, yeah, but we got tales from all over Hawaii, and Hawaii, you know, of course, it's very famous for its luscious beaches, its lush landscapes.
Mm-hmm. It's volcanoes.
Yes, it's volcanoes, and it has some very fascinating history to it as well, and of course, with any fascinating history, at least in our book, you gotta have some ghost stories to go hand in hand in it. So that brings us to tonight.
Yep, so we're actually going to start on Oahu, because usually when you fly into Honolulu. That's the main airport, which is on Oahu. So we figured, let's follow the flight pattern, and that's what we'll do. So we're going to start with the most haunted house on Oahu. And this is known, and I apologize now if I mispronounce. I really do apologize. I'm going to try to get it right, though. This is the Kaimuka House, or Kaimuki House. And it's the most famous haunted house in Hawaii, and in especially Oahu, which is where it's located. It's on the corner of 8th and Harding. It's on a foundation of lava rocks, which, of course, all of the islands are made out of lava rocks because they were all parts of the volcanic chain, but this is very prominent lava rock that's up. And it's, as I said, one of the most haunted places out there. The house itself looks normal, but the story behind it is not. There's actually a creature haunting this house, and it is known as the Kasha, and it's a Japanese creature. It's a man-eating ghost that's part of their folklore. And all of the stories that are around this house have been thoroughly documented. They've been put in newspapers, they're in police reports, so it is quite a well-known house. Some people may think that this is a ghoul who actually lives around crematoriums and eats dead people. Either way, I don't want to meet either creature. Some actually call it a cat-like demon that's from the sky who comes down and steals away bodies, so a snatcher type of creature. But the one thing they all have in common is their insatiable hunger for blood and corpses. Zombie apocalypse, here we come. Just saying. So, what we have here, plenty of people have lived in this house, they vacationed in this house, and they have left due to terrifying and dangerous occurrences. The original tale comes from the 1940s. A young couple moved in the home. The neighbors heard loud bangs, crashes. They suspected some domestic violence, so they called the police. When the police arrived, the couple claimed that they were being attacked by a force they could not see. In 1942, police officers were called to the house by a woman who kept repeating, "She's trying to kill my children. She's trying to kill my children." Upon entering the house, the officers could do nothing more than watch in horror as 3 children were levitated, slapped, and hurled across the room by an invisible force. The incident was even featured in the local newspaper. Supposedly, a young boy detected odor of ghost in the home, enraging the Kasha and resulting in a vicious attack against the family. This is what the law enforcement actually put in their report. So it was quite interesting, and I'm going to show this to you real quick. This is actually the newspaper clipping that we were able to find. There we go. It's backwards, I know. But I just thought it was cool that we were able to find the newspaper clipping. So 30 years later, a young girl is actually reportedly attacked by an invisible force in the house. She immediately went to hide in her car, which was parked outside. The spirit followed her. The account is detailed in another newspaper article, and many sources actually discuss strangulation, but it's hard to actually find that in the police report. I actually wasn't able to find it in the police report. Thank you, honey. I had enough strangulation today already. Doctor's appointment. That's all I'm going to say. I was at the doctor.
I did not do anything.
No, it was not him at all. And it was not my neck. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Other possible explanations for these paranormal encounters, there's a twist on the story above in the fact that a child was actually killed on the property. In this case, again, we're not quite sure of the experts that were being referred to in the article that we found. Again, trying to trace those back, it's somebody said, trying to find the primary source. But the story actually goes that a father killed his 2 children and wife in the home. The wife and son's bodies were buried in the backyard, and only the corpse of the daughter was ever found. So where did the other 2 bodies go, or the fact that their bodies are never properly given burial? Are they the source of what's going on in this house? We don't know. One story it tells of a lesbian couple who one of the women became involved with the men. He discovered his girlfriend's secret and he killed her along with the girlfriend's girlfriend. There's no evidence that I've been able to find police reports to corroborate this to make sure that it's right, but those are possibilities and those are rumors that are going around as to what possibly might be causing this besides the demons mentioned beforehand. But we do know that the original house was actually torn down in 2016 and there's new construction on the property, so I'm going to be really curious if what they put up has things happening to them. That'll be something to check out.
Mm-hmm. Question: is there some crossover with the folklore of this monster and the Jersey Devil?
Possibly.
Seems very similar.
A snatcher, some type of body snatcher who eats people. There's a lot of those in almost every single culture. There's several of them in Celtic cultures of body snatchers who come and grab you, goblins, bog people, those types of things. So,
considering that humanity really goes back hundreds of thousands of years, much further back than recorded history, if you will, it kind of makes you curious.
Oral traditions.
The oral traditions and all that. Kind of makes you curious if there is some sort of
common myths
that date back to the ages before written folklore truly came into being, thousands of years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, take a look at I'm going to use Disney as an example, but Moana's story and how they have the sea traveling people. I mean, that's how a lot of these stories came over to the islands. People are out looking for more land. They brought their culture with them. It's been assimilated and changed with whoever's come to the island.
Yeah. They did a fairly good job with that one.
They did.
They didn't butcher it like Pocahontas.
No.
We won't go there. We won't get into that. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, but they did the research this time, which is highly commendable for them. All right, so let's switch over to Pounders Beach in Oahu. And Chris doesn't have this one because we didn't get this one typed. But Pounders Beach is named for the strong crashing waves that pound the beach all year long. It is a very popular place for surfers to come in because you get the big monster waves. Now, this is a sad tale of a woman who drowned actually trying to save her child. She was down there one evening, heard her child calling for help. She saw him in the surf struggling, so she dove in after him to save him. And unfortunately, both mother and child did drown. This is not a safe place for swimming. It's very strong currents, very strong waves, so you have to be very careful when you're out there. The spirit of the woman is actually seen looking for her lost child along the beach and the surf, but beware. If you're there with your kids, keep an eye on your kid. If she believes your child looks like her lost child, it is said that she will actually try to snatch the child away and take him or her into the water. The locals warn, do not approach her. If you see her, she is an angry and violent spirit. Sometimes people can hear the screaming of the child and its cries for help, but they can find nobody on the beach or out in the waves calling for help. They also report hearing at night a pitter-patter of small childlike feet running up to them, but there is nobody there. And they do look for footprints. He doesn't leave them as far as I know. Not that I was able to find anyway. So
I'd like to go running on the beach.
I would too.
My mind's kind of in... It's in the gutter right now, but it's the vacation gutter.
The vacation gutter. A nice gutter to be in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
Today's been a day.
It wasn't too bad of a day.
No. It was a busy day.
I was able to give 3 people promotions today, so yay.
Yay. He had a good day.
A little bit of a good day. Got to spread some good news today, so... And
I became a private tour guide today, so yay.
Yes.
I'm now offering private guided tours.
Yep. Getting back in business.
Okay, I have clogged my straw. This is not cool.
Is it my turn to talk?
Yes, night marchers.
Night marchers. So yes, night marchers. Now I'm kind of giving it away here right off the bat. One of the most popular, most well-known pieces of folklore, haunted folklore in particular, in Hawaii is, of course, the night marchers. They're ancient warriors. that
you don't mess with.
No, you don't mess with them, and they see them all over the place, marching across the landscape late at night, and always kind of to the rhythm of an ancient drum beat.
Mm-hmm.
And
they follow the ancient roots.
They follow the ancient roots on. People like to say on their way to the ancient battlegrounds.
Yeah.
That really dot dot Hawaii.
Yeah.
So.
This is actually one of the very first stories I had heard about when we were getting ready to go to Hawaii. My dad, of course, bought us VHS. That tells you how old I was when we went to Hawaii.
Well, VHS wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Okay, yes it was.
But we watched Discover Hawaii, and I heard about them, and I heard about this location that we're going to talk about on that video. And I said, Dad, can we go to the treehouse? And he said, unfortunately, no, we're not going to that island. I'm like, but treehouse.
When we go.
When we go.
When we go. Someday. So, but yes, you have the night marchers, and they show up all over the place.
Yeah.
There's many stories about them. We have a few of them to share with you tonight, and just a little bit more about them in case you're not familiar with the night marchers. They're always seen in large numbers. We're talking like entire armies of soldiers marching down these ancient roads, and they carry their ancient weapons, and they're dressed in helmets and cloaks. They always carry torches and are heard to be chanting. Locals who have seen them report that they appear to be floating when they march by, but after they pass and they disappear, they leave mysterious footprints on the ground. Once the warriors disappear, the chanting and the drumming go with them and disappear as well. Other times, people have reported hearing the chanting and the drums, but only see a white mist. Some say that this is because the marchers do not necessarily want to be seen on these occasions. Locals always warn the tourists not to look right at the night marchers. Never try to interrupt them or stand in their way. It is said that if you do, the marchers will give you a deathly glance. And this is not just a deathly glance. We're talking literally a death glance. It can kill you unless your ancestor may happen to be one of the night marchers themselves. So there are stories that the marchers will take you and force you... They will take you and force you to march with them for eternity, which is another way your life might be spared, is if one of your relatives has already been taken by them. So you don't want to mess with them. These are not some spirits that you really want to go out hunting for. They can be bad news. Now, when the locals hear the drumming and chanting, they immediately go inside their houses, or they drop to the ground and close their eyes, almost as if they're playing dead. It kind of sounds a little funny, but they take these spirits very seriously. And a local even said that one time, while he was on the ground playing dead, a night marcher nudged him to try and get his attention. He knew that he could not give in, or else he might become one of them himself. The night marchers seem to be recreating the past from when they were alive, or they could be restless spirits and are trying to reclaim what is rightfully theirs, the land that is rightfully theirs. A few theorize they may just be trying to find their way to the other side. They've been showing up an awful lot to have not quite found their way to the other side yet.
Not the right road yet.
Yeah. So
there's as we said, there's quite a few hauntings. One of them actually takes place on the 10th floor of King Kamehameha's Kona Beach Hotel. It is said to be haunted by these guys. They like it because this is actually where King Kamehameha and his warriors lived, on this plot of land. People staying and working at the hotel report hearing the chanting, they hear the footsteps, they hear the battle cries, and some have actually seen them marching through the hallways. So that could be a cool place to kind of go and stay. And I wouldn't open my door if they were marching in the hallways, but it'd be cool to hear them. Maybe peep out through the people. On the bottom floor, actually, of that hotel, there are portraits of Hawaiian royalty hanging on the walls. Queen Liliuokalani's portrait is said to appear like it is actually breathing. And remember, we did talk about Queen Liliuokalani when we talked about the haunted palaces. She was the last ruling monarch of Hawaii before she was forced to step down by us, unfortunately, by the U.S. She has a very grumpy look on her face, and her eyes will actually follow you as you move. So that's definitely creepy.
Yeah. Actually got a comment here. So Kiana notes that Hawaii had a strict rule called kapu that segregated the sexes and also segregated nobles from peasants for ceremonial and religious reasons.
Yes, I do remember learning about that when I was there, and I have come across it actually in my research.
Yeah, so that might be what actually is upsetting the night marchers.
Oh, that's no longer there anymore.
That type of tradition is no longer recognized.
Could be. All right, so continue. There on the Big Island, there's a valley of magic and wonder. It looks very much like the landscape of the ancient valleys with a 2,000-foot cliff and majestic waterfalls. This was...
sorry.
He's got the name of the valley in here.
What did you just do? Waipio?
Waipio Valley.
I probably butchered that pronunciation too. It's what it looks like.
Yes. Now, there are actually ancient temples and burial grounds in the valley, and it's the perfect location to see the night marchers. They're actually seen quite frequently here.
It is stereotypical lush tropical valley.
Yeah. Think Jurassic Park, lush tropical valley, and you got it.
2,000-foot cliffs, majestic waterfalls, and then nestled amongst this valley, there's all these ancient Hawaiian temples and burial grounds. So it really does kind of make it the perfect place to see the night marchers as well.
It's also a place that the locals believe has an entrance to the underworld there. So they think that might be one of the things that draws the night marchers to this area. There's a compound that's got at least 30 cottages and tree houses. This is the one I mentioned before. It's known as Linda Beach, and it's spelled like beach tree, not beach, sand beach. But she has had several experiences with these ancient spirits on her compound. She's heard the chanting coming from the nearby waterfall when she went to explore. The chanting got quieter, and closer to the falls that she got, the more quiet it became. And it wasn't because the falls were getting louder, it just got quieter, like she was intruding upon them. She looked around, there was nobody at the falls. As she got further away again from the falls, the chanting grew louder again. And she realized that this was not of the current world, the real world that she was in. This was another plane that she was hearing this from. Another night she was alone in her treehouse when she heard another voice. She said it was the night of the full moon. It was very bright. You couldn't have walked anywhere without the crackling of the leaves. She heard the voice call up from her from the ground below the house. She quickly
got herself together and tried to be a matter of fact. She then, I quote, "I leaned out and said, 'Yes, yes, this is Linda. What is it?' That was all that I said." Turns out there was no response and no one to be seen, and she hasn't been able to figure out if a spirit was trying to actually lure her down or was just checking up on her.
See if she was there. Hey, Linda. Now, Stephanie is a woman who worked for Linda, and she worked on the property for 3 years. She says that the property actually has an energy void, which could be another reason why the marchers are there quite often and the spirits are there. She heard the same voice that Linda experienced, as well as the chanting near the waterfall, but she is the one who has seen the night marchers on the property, and she has seen them between dusk and 2 a.m. is when several of the sightings have taken place. And during the 7th phase of the moon, I have to figure out what she means by that.
You don't know what the 7th phase of the moon is?
No, I know the 4 phases.
Oh, okay, I clearly don't know what it is either, but I figured you would know if anybody.
I gotta do research.
Okay.
But she says that she was actually up in the trees, and she doesn't think that they're just following the old paths or going to battle. She actually thinks that where they are, the night marchers are escorting the royalty to where they need to go, and this is happening when the moon is out. So I'm assuming that means it's the new moon.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But she says that she actually was sleeping in her treehouse with a friend, and she woke up after hearing the drums and the very deep drums. She woke up and woke up her friend as well. She looked out the window to see several large figures about 7 feet tall with dark Polynesian features and holding torches. There were flames everywhere, so many that we thought the building was actually on fire. So they grabbed their flashlights and came out of the treehouse and ran to the end of the trail. She said it was a very chaotic run. They were so focused on looking at the ground and not at the night marchers that when they got to the end of the trail, they realized that there was no more drumming, no more reflection of torchlight, and absolute silence. She said that she then risked actually looking up and seeing if anything was around them at that point in time. I would have been terrified if she saw so many torches that it looked like the building or the treehouse she was in was on fire.
Yeah, that would have been just a touch unsettling.
Yeah, and when Linda was reported in this article, she said that at least 4 guests have also reported seeing the night marchers to her. So it's not just the staff, it's also the guests that have been seeing them.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so you see them all over, and there's many, many stories about the night marchers. I mean, that's by far the most prevalent
spirit out there.
Prevalent spirit that people come across in Hawaii. So, but with that said, they're not the only ones that.
Kiana says she's been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Been there. You have to walk or take a 4-wheeler, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it did say that it was a very difficult way to get in there. You couldn't get in there with a car, so
yeah.
I would be all for going. Because it sounds like a perfect place to disconnect. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sounds like it to me. Cheers, everybody.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers. So, now, there is another ghost in Hawaii that's very prevalent there. Really, now, it's a type of spirit, let's call it that.
Yeah.
And you can find classification. And you do find stories of this all around the globe, but there's a inordinate number of stories in Hawaii about this type of spirit. Probably the second most common, second most famous type of spirit in Hawaii, only to the night marchers, and that is of the choking ghosts.
And what's unique about this is they show up in a lot of the fire departments all across the islands.
Yeah.
And I find that a really odd distinction. You can get them elsewhere, but the fire departments really seem to be a target of them. Yeah. And I don't know why.
Well, we get to that.
Okay.
There's a little bit in here about it.
But
about a theory, at least.
A theory, yeah.
A theory. So, anyway, the choking ghosts, and basically what this is exactly what it sounds like. People will be laying down, kind of half asleep, and they will kind of, they'll be awakened to an absolute crushing weight on their chest, and the feeling that they're unable to breathe. And it goes on just until the moment when they feel like they are done for.
About to pass out,
and then the weight dissipates, and they are released by the ghostly attacker.
And this has been recorded as going on for over 100 years, so they've been around a while.
Yeah. So, victims, have been reported for over 100 years. They attack locals at their homes and businessmen in the hotels. When a person is hovering at that time, like being half awake, half asleep, they report seeing shadowy figures that silently enter the room and attack. They are the spirits of men and women, sometimes seen or unseen. Their victims are unable to move, they cannot breathe, and they slowly feel the air being sucked out of their lungs. These ghosts attack residents and tourists alike. The experience is a frightening reminder that not everything is pleasant in paradise. One resident who moved to the island later reported that I've never experienced it until I lived here, and it's a terrifying feeling. I remember just trying to scream and nothing coming out of my mouth, not being able to move like there were sandbags on my entire body. He tried screaming 5 or 6 times before the attack finally ceased. Choking ghosts appear all throughout the island, but they are often felt in very unlikely places, such as Beth mentioned, the Honolulu fire stations. Now, the theory behind this, kind of up in the air, but the theory is that many of these fire stations are situated close to cemeteries, apparently. And during the 18th and 19th centuries, when European settlers started to make frequent trips to the Hawaiian Islands, just as they did here on the mainland, they brought exotic diseases with them, including smallpox and measles, and the native population was not acclimated to these diseases, and it's said that over half of native Hawaiians perished due to these diseases that were brought in by the Europeans by ship. Now, if you were a poor Hawaiian at this point in time, you probably could not afford to have a fancy burial in one of the city cemeteries. And unfortunately what wound up happening is that many of these people wound up getting buried in mass graves just outside the perimeter of the city cemeteries. Well, as the city grew, development overtook and approached and encroached on the cemeteries, and people forgot about the mass graves that are actually outside the cemeteries. So you have places like the fire departments and even some luxury hotels that are built right over the top of mass graves of those who suffered and perished in the disease outbreaks of the 18th and 19th century.
And we know that ghosts are not happy when they get disturbed and when things get built upon them. We've told several stories about this. I-4, Florida.
Yeah.
To name one.
Yeah. So the locals believe that the choking ghosts are spirits who roam the islands wishing to avenge the loss of their Hawaiian kingdom. Many of the native firefighters believe that these spirits mana, which is basically kind of their magic, their spirit, that it's not complete.
Their energy.
So they walk up to the station dorms at night. They are just trying to let us know that they are residents in the same space. Even though many have had experience with these ghosts, few firefighters are willing to talk about it. But one 25-year veteran by the name of Richard, who was a firefighter in Honolulu, said that his experience started with a sudden pressure on his chest while he was in a deep sleep. He woke to see a dark figure on his chest, and when he attempted to lift his head and neck, he couldn't move at all. It kept pressing harder and harder on his chest until he actually was finally able to scream for help. As soon as he screamed, his fellow firefighters rushed to his aid, and he says that he watched as the apparition got off his chest and ran towards the exit doors of the dorm and out of the station altogether. He was scared out of his wits, I'd say justifiably so, and Richard, this is his words, to his credit, Richard still believes that these are actually friendly spirits, but that every once in a while they feel the need to remind you of exactly who is in charge.
Not necessarily us.
I don't necessarily think that I would have viewed it in such a generous fashion, but kudos to Richard, I suppose.
Yeah, Richard has a much more open mind than I do. And I think I'm pretty open-minded, but there are certain points I draw the line.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Getting crushed in my sleep does not sound very pleasant, I gotta be honest.
So we're going to talk about the Pali Highway, or Old Pali Road, as it was sometimes known as. This was built in 1845. It was very narrow with many sharp turns. In 1898, it was developed into a new highway. For 1898 highway, use that loosely. That was actually used until 1961. There have been many deaths and accidents on this road because of the sharp turns and poor visibility, especially at night. There are no lights except for your car headlights and the moonlight. People are unnerved driving down this road at night. It is now closed to vehicle traffic. You can still walk on parts of the road, but it's not recommended as this road is extremely haunted. People, when they were allowed to drive on the highway, many reported witnessing a little girl's ghost who was murdered actually on this highway. And the story goes that she was strangled to death with her own jump rope. She is seen jump roping as she moves down the road. People will see her stop and ask if she's okay. When addressed by an adult, she will turn to face them and look at them with absolutely no face, just a dark sort of shadow right here. Only her eyes can be seen. Needless to say, when people see the faceless child, they leave immediately. People also report seeing a giant ghostly blob dart out in front of them, and as soon after that, their car will stall and stop. Scary blob creatures. I've played way too many games. Never a good thing. Now, if you continue up the Pali Road, you will actually come across the Nuuanu Peak via a tunnel. The legend goes that Pele was involved with a demigod, Kamehameha, who was half man, half pig, and during their relationship they didn't get along too well. Lots of fighting. So eventually they vowed never to see each other again, and as the story goes, they parted ways and each claimed a different side of the island for their own. A modern tale of this area states if you happen to have pork in your car, jerky, I don't know if pork rinds count, but jerky, a pork sandwich, anything along those lines,
Pig meat.
It's going to cause problems. So if you have pork in your car and you enter the tunnel, the car will actually stall and stop when people pull off to the side of the road. The driver claims to see an apparition walk up to the window. Once the window is rolled down, the driver will be asked, "Got any pork in your car?" And usually the shocked people in the car will admit to having a pork sandwich or something along those lines. They will be told by the apparition to hand it out or throw it out, and then the car will immediately restart and they can drive away. The most famous story involves a taxi driver who was driving along the Pali highway, and after she dropped a fare off on the opposite side of the island from her home, she started to come back and approach the tunnel, and she glanced in the rearview mirror to see a ghostly woman sitting in the back seat. She turned around, nobody was there. She sped up the car, and then something grabbed her from behind and circling her neck, causing her to frantically struggle to breathe. The driver was able to free herself, and the car veered towards a large tree, and at the last moment she was able to break free from the vice grip, quickly gain control of the car, and stop it before she hit the tree. She got out of the car, very shaken, and looked in the back seat, and she noticed that her fare had left a half-eaten pork sandwich on the seat.
Yes.
So if you drive a taxi, always do a search of your car before you pick up your next person. That's the moral of that story, in my opinion.
It's a good theory.
Yep.
I remember I almost left a computer in a Uber.
Oh, God. I'm glad I caught that Uber.
Yes, very glad we caught the Uber before she drove off with my laptop. That would not have been good.
Yeah. Other things that are said to show up, it's not a human, but a white dog. And you have to actually feed the pork sandwich to the dog before you can continue on your way. And there is actually a very noticeable change when you go from one side of the island to the other. One side is said to be very humid and wet, whereas the other one is considered to be very hot and dry.
Which
makes sense.
It makes sense for the two sides.
Yeah, Pele is hot and dry.
dry.
Volcano goddess.
And Kamapua?
Yep.
Kamapua, his side is the wet and humid side. So, half pig, half man.
Yep. So one more spot on this road is the Palais Lookout, and this is where King Kamehameha defeated an opposing force in one of Hawaii's most bloody battles. He drove the opposing warriors over the cliff and to their deaths at this lookout. Hawaiians believe that the spirits of their ancestors linger in the air, watching loved ones, pushing those who will hurt their families off the cliff. So don't get close to the edge.
Particularly if you don't know who your ancestors were.
Yes. There is usually gentle winds up there, but it is known for those winds to turn to gale force winds very quickly. So you have to be very careful up there. Many say that it is those ancestors who are pushing you either away from the edge or towards the edge, depending on the connection. Others will claim the sudden winds will push you towards the edge of the cliff, and this could be punishment for an action that you actually took. It can be a very scary experience either way, and people tend to leave the lookout in a very, very quick trot.
Yeah, get me out of there.
Yeah.
If the winds try to push me off the cliff, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's enough for me.
I remember some of the winds that we were at Cliffs of Moore.
Oh, yes.
They actually have plexiglass up to keep you from being pushed by the winds off the cliffs.
In some places.
Yeah. Not in all of them.
Not in all of them. And it's a good thing we got there the day that we did, because apparently the following day, didn't they have to close the cliffs due to 100-mile-an-hour winds?
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty...
Which is a common occurrence. So
Yep.
you got to be very, very careful.
Yes.
All right, so we've been talking about Pele.
Yeah,
so
we've mentioned
let's
Pele a
actually
couple
talk
times.
about Pele.
Yeah, Pele, now, goddess of
volcanoes. She actually came, and she's the legend is she's the one who created the islands.
Yes.
And she stirred her staff and started the volcanoes and moved up the chain to the Big Island, which was the last one she created, and that's actually where she lives, in the active volcano there.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so Pele is still a very prominent part of Hawaiian lore.
Yes, and she is not a goddess to be messed with. She has a temper. She has a jealous streak. You have to show her absolute respect.
Yeah. She is both revered and feared by those on the Hawaiian Islands, and you don't mess with her. She is unpredictable. She is vengeful, and she is quick to anger. She is also known to interact with the native Hawaiians and tourists every day. Native Hawaiians will go to the volcanic crater in the heart of Volcanoes National Park to leave offerings of flowers, food, tea, leaves, and bottles of
Jan Nettie, which is a type of gin.
Glad you know that.
This is actually, if you ever hear about the volcano erupting and you see people throwing bottles of liquor out of their windows of their houses at the advancing lava, that is an offering to Pele to not touch their house. She doesn't always listen to it, but that's what they're throwing is Jan Nettie, and it's gin.
So yeah, out of deep respect for the goddess, that's why they do this. Now it's known that if you take a volcanic rock or sand from Hawaii, the Pele will curse you until you return it. Do not, under any circumstances, take anything, any dirt, any sand, any rock from Hawaii. I know people collect this. Hawaii is the one place you want to leave alone.
Yeah.
So don't go there. Pele will curse you until you return it. The Park and Tourism Bureau receive hundreds of packages every year from tourists who have taken a rock or a bottle of sand home and had quote-unquote bad luck that has followed them ever since. The letters describe where they took the item from and beg forgiveness from Pele. Once the items are returned, their luck seems to turn around. There is one high priestess on the island by the name of Tiffany that says her family has been visited by Pele 3 times. The form Pele takes depends on the situation. She can be a young or an old woman, and she is also seen as a white dog. In Tiffany's case, Pele has come to warn the family of something dangerous. Many have reported picking up a beautiful young lady on the lonely lava flow, and she will get into the car, and by the time they drop her off, she is 90 years old. Often she demands the car to stop just before danger on the road. She will come to your door as an older woman asking for a glass of water or food. If you get her water, she will say, "You are kind, and I will share your kindness. Tomorrow when the lava comes, you'll be safe. The lava flow will hit the houses before yours, but will turn and miss any house Pele has protected."
So if you have an old woman showing up at your door, feed her or give her something to drink.
Be nice.
Show your kindness. If you haven't learned this from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, exactly, Beauty and the Beast. I'm just gonna go there.
Yeah. Now, because they had so many rocks and sand and other items being sent back, they basically decided that they were going to open up a garden for Pele. And so when the sun was at its zenith on the first Wednesday of each month, a time considered by Hawaiians to be auspicious on their calendar, a kahu, or a priestess, asked Madame Pele permission to return yet another box of rocks to her garden of woe, as it's called. And again, this is a new landmark on the Kona coast of the Big Island. It's known locally as Ka'ahu Pepe Okahana. Okahaku, O Malu. I think I butchered that slightly. It is the resting place for disturbed Hawaiian rocks and a rock that has been taken from its original place. That's what the technical term is. Since all rocks in Hawaii originated with Madame Pele, each rock is said to have mana, or supernatural power. Part of her is with it, which is why she curses you if you take it away. Now, they will actually ask you in the airport, do you have any rocks? Do you have any sand?
Yeah. Now, interesting, actually, Kiana here says that the news anchors in Hawaii they'll actually reference Madame Pele quite often. So that's just how intertwined she is with the local culture that she's mentioned on the news. Also, though, she mentions that lava rock is not good. Do not take that. But she thinks the sand is okay from what she's heard. As a matter of fact, she has some.
I'm not going to lie. I have some as well.
Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
And I asked permission to take it, and I actually had a woman come up to me and tell me yes on the beach.
Okay.
Dressed in traditional native garb.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that was my encounter with Pele or not. But she was dressed in traditional Hawaiian garb while we were on a black sand beach on our trip, and I literally knelt down and said, Goddess Pele, well, may I take some sand home with me? And that's when she walked up to me.
Go sand.
So
thank you for that insight.
I do have some, and I keep it on my altar, and whenever I do a ritual, I always ask Pele to continue to bless me with this sand. So, yeah. I will not lie, I do have some.
The things I'm finding out on the air tonight for the first time.
And he hasn't ever noticed the bottle of sand sitting on my altar.
You have a lot of stuff there.
Yeah. Big bottle of sand.
Noted.
So yes, I do have some Kiana. And so far, I literally, whenever I do a ritual, I ask, is it still okay to have this? The minute I get the no, I will send it back. So...
Man, we are getting a full spectrum of reactions out of those comments. So,
so yeah.
Loving, liking, caring, angry, sad, all kinds of good stuff going all up and down the spectrum there. And, Patrick, one of my friends just texted me and told me that she took some of the sand and rocks from Hawaii when she was a child. Her life has been a crazy roller coaster ever since, and she places the blame on this now that she knows it's cursed. How do I undo the curse?
Send it back.
Send it back. Claim cursed objects on the not just saying. I'm sure, but anyways, yeah, you send it back.
Yeah.
You box it up. You send it back to
the tourism.
The Hawaii Tourism Bureau, right?
Yes.
Yep. So
you have to look up the address for them because I didn't write that down.
Yeah.
But that's where you want to send it back to.
Yep. First class mail.
Yes. Wrap it up nicely in lots of tissue paper.
UPS overnight might be a bit expensive, but I guess it depends on just how much bad luck you've actually been having.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I always said that if and when I go back to Hawaii, I will take the bottle with me and I will return it. So that will be going in the suitcase with us when we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Because I plan to return it. All right, Maui. Maui time.
Yes, Maui. So, Wailuku?
Mm-hmm.
Wailuku? So, in Maui.
Yep.
Io. The Io Theater was built in 1928. So, the Io Theater.
Yep.
In 1928. And it was saved from demolition in 1993. So, this theater is so haunted that it has been featured on numerous television shows. So, Ghost Hunt... I don't know if Ghost Hunters have been there, but the Ghost Hunters type shows.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. I don't know what shows exactly. But anyways, so objects have been known to move around by themselves, and phantom voices are heard, but no sources are ever found. The dressing rooms in the theater are described as having a watcher. You feel the presence of someone there, but you cannot see them. Many believe that all this activity is caused by Emma, an actress who once performed at the theater and now still haunts it to this day. Emma is now with that said, Emma is described as a sweet, friendly ghost. Yay, a nice ghost.
Yes, Emma.
Yes, who lost her way, trying to get to the other side. A little sad, but at least she's nice since she's sticking around. When the theater is locked up for the night and eerie feelings encompass the space, investigators have felt like they were not alone once the employees have left.
Yeah. And I actually did try to find any paranormal investigations recently that might have been there, and I did not find any stories of that. So, I don't know, maybe we need to get our paranormal buddies together and go for a Hawaii trip.
Done. Call Wendy.
Yes.
She can get it organized.
Wendy, we have a trip that we planned.
Yeah. And so, let's see.
Oh, we did that one.
We did?
We did those two. We are done.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. We're a little short tonight.
We're short. How did that happen?
I probably could have done a few more stories. There's a few more haunted highways out there.
Oh.
But I thought I had enough, and this is what happens when I don't type up my script to see what my word count is.
We completely went off the rails tonight.
But that's okay. Considering the last 2 weeks we've been very long.
Yeah, we've been a little long a couple of weeks, but it doesn't all have to hit right on that hour mark.
But next week we are going to be talking about asylums and hospitals.
Hospitals, yes. So the most stereotypical of haunted places. All kinds of creepy hospitals in that.
Silent Hill, here we come.
Silent Hill, here we come.
Literally Arkham Sanatorium, here we come.
Yep. Let's see, American Horror Story Season 2, which was the Asylum one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and who knows, a countless number of various paranormal ghost hunter type shows that have visited who knows how many hospitals and sanatoriums. And our friend Melissa's on there. Hi, Melissa. You're just tuning in just as
we're finishing.
Just as we're wrapping up for the evening. But the nice thing about Facebook Live is that this video will be saved to our archive. So if anybody who isn't able to watch us live right now can go back and watch it later. And we will keep it there for as long as Facebook lets us keep it there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But definitely come out for tours since now we're open. Again, the 19th is going to be our first tour. I'm actually giving that one, and it's almost sold out.
Yes. Yeah, that's not saying much under the circumstances. We have a very strict limit of a maximum of 8 guests on our tours.
We're only allowed to have 10 out there, so
including the guides.
Including the guides, so that leaves it space for 2 guides if need be.
Yeah. So tickets are severely limited, but at least we're able to get out there and tell some stories, get out and walk, which would be good for us because we haven't hardly been walking much at all.
I'm really glad the doctor did not weigh me today.
Yeah, but with that said, we're very thankful for everybody who's tuning in and has been tuning in over these past, I lost track of how many weeks on these.
Far too many weeks. Far too many weeks. But
hey, we've loved talking to you though. Yes. So,
but progress is being made, and things are starting to open up again, including us. And we will keep doing this because we do enjoy talking to you.
Yep. Yeah. Just as we said, it probably isn't going to be every single week because we're gonna have our day-to-day business to start getting back to as well. So we have loved doing this. We're very thankful for everybody who's been tuning in with us week in and week out. And
we will be here next Monday, but after that we will start alternating weeks.
Yep, so we're going to take a week off after next Monday, but next week we will be here, and So join us for haunted asylums and hospitals. We will talk about 2 hospitals here in Virginia, and some that are all over the rest of the country. And this is probably going to be a part tour as well, because there's a lot of stories out there. We could have talked about nothing but haunted hospitals and asylums ever since we started doing this back in March, and not run out of material. So,
but I am going to plug the Haunted Nights events.
Oh, please do.
Because they are actually going to be, they have tickets I think available for St. Albans, which is actually going to be one of the asylums we are talking about. Coming up, so definitely check out their Facebook page. It is run by the Twisted Paranormal Crew, and they have several events, usually locally here. They have them down at Henricus Park, and I know they have one coming up in October there, so and those tickets tend to go pretty quickly, and that's including, is that with the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, the one that had to be rescheduled?
I think so.
I think that's right.
But you can look it up online. Hey, everybody that's watching us and actually looking at us can see us on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you're listening on the Vibe Radio Network, you can go on Facebook and look up haunted events.
Yes.
So.
Or haunted nights.
Haunted nights. Excuse me. Haunted nights events.
Yes.
I think that's
And they actually just posted today. They're going to have a ghostly dinner at the Octagonal Mansion here in Virginia as well. And that one just got posted. So that's one place Chris and I actually have researched, and we want to go, and you get a full meal in your ticket, and then you actually do a ghost hunt afterward. So that's really awesome as well. But definitely check out what they've been doing, because since we've been able to open and they're able to open, they're starting to get these events going again. Locally, check out Transcend Paranormal. They're our friends, and we actually do a lot of investigations helping with them. And we've got some coming up that we're going to help with them later this year, as long as our schedule still allows us to do it. But they have events coming up at Scotchtown, and also at Hanover Tavern, and I believe they have one at Henricus as well. That's actually this month. I think it's next week. So check those out so you can get tickets to them. They are limited in their size, like everybody else's. So definitely check those out.
Yeah. And Patrick actually mentioned that he has been to St. Albans, which, well, that's going to be one of the ones that we talk about.
Yep.
Yep. So, yes, we will be chatting about St. Albans next week, Patrick. So.
Yeah, and our local ones actually got to Petersburg.
Yes, that's
For
right.
our local story.
Yeah, I've got a local story just down the road.
Yeah.
So, we are looking forward. We got our script basically ready to go for next Monday.
You just need to proof me. I did type this one.
Yes, yeah, we haven't dropped the ball on that again. So, anyways.
With that, I hope you guys have enjoyed. We will see you next week.
Yes, we will see you next week.
And hopefully see you on a tour soon.
Yeah, please come on out. See us in person now that we can actually do that again. And, words. I'm lost for words.
We need more drink. My drink's
More
melted.
Yeah, mine melted down too, but it still tastes good. So.
It looks like blood juice now.
That sounds delightful.
Doesn't it?
So.
Horror party, here we go.
Yes. So, but yeah, anyways, I guess, thanks everybody for tuning in for another week. We will look forward to seeing you all here again soon. And, again, hopefully we can see you in person again soon. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Between now and then, we're always happy to chat. So if anybody wants to drop us a note or anything like that,
message us on Facebook.
Send us a Facebook note or something like that. We love being able to interact with y'all.
If you have tips on places I need to research,
oh yes,
please drop those.
Yeah, if there's any themes or particular locations you want to see researched and discussed on a future broadcast like this, we will be happy to hear from you. So
and if you have somebody who would like to sponsor us on a year-long road trip going ghost hunting and podcasting, I won't say no.
Yes. Oh, okay, got a comment here. Want to check Hanover Tavern. Glenn, very good point. Our friends at Hanover Tavern, I think that they're starting up their haunted Hanover Tavern tours again.
Yes, they are. So definitely check them out. I think I saw them posted for next week.
They are basically they are also run by Transcend Paranormal as well. Because the leader there, Steve, he heads up Transcend,
and he's on the board.
He's on the board at Hanover Tavern, so they do a lot of haunted events up there. Very good friends of ours. And as long as we're mentioning our friends in the paranormal community, I know that just this past weekend, our friends up the Ashland Ghost Tours managed to get going again this past weekend as too. They were very excited to be able to do that. So if you want to come and make a weekend out of doing ghost tours in Central Virginia, you can check us out. You can check out Ashland Ghost Tours as well, because they were very happy to go ahead and get started again too. So.
Yep. We like promoting everybody.
Yes.
Promote each other.
We love our friends in the paranormal community, and we love you guys too for tuning in and watching us and listening to me ramble and putting up with me and good stuff like that.
It's okay. And drinking with us.
And drinking, yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers again, everybody. With that, we will go ahead. We will call it a night, and thank you again.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.